Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Fire Festival. At first glance, this honestly looks like it's a video of basically nothing, but the issue with this one is exactly that. You can't see it. Invisible fire sounds made up, but it is actually very real and can be super dangerous because you obviously can't see it, as shown by this video. Invisible fires are ethanol fires, like the ones that are created by alcohol, like even the kinds we drink are the ones used in motor oil. That is part of the reason why invisible fire is a very real danger for race car drivers and crews. Ethanol burns blue and smokeless, but the blue flames can sometimes be invisible to our naked eyes. This video clearly shows invisible fire right before someone's eyes that neither we nor they can see, but it is clearly being picked up on a piece of equipment. It's definitely odd to be scared of something you can't see, but in this case, the threat is very real. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Phantom of the Ocean. This video is one that was taken by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, and it is one that captures the ever-elusive giant phantom jellyfish. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the ocean is one of the most spectacularly terrifying places on the planet, and the creatures that exist within it are equally as wonderful and equally as terrifying. Using a remote-operated submarine, the researchers at the institute came eye to eye with this creature at a depth of about 3,200 feet below the sea. This is an extremely rare sighting, which is what makes it a very valuable video, as this kind of jellyfish has only been seen 110 times in the last 100 years. The jelly seen in this video has a bell that is more than 3.3 feet across, and the trailing ribbon-like oral arms can grow to be more than 33 feet in length. These jellyfish look like the Voldemorts of the sea, and it uses those cloak-like arms to entrap its prey and then reel them up into its mouth. Yeah, I'll just admire this one from afar. In our number 8 spot today, we have a barnacle. Okay, I have a confession to make. I grew up in the prairies, so for my entire life I've been thinking that barnacles were like plants or something, and turns out I was really wrong. They're actually aliens. This video is of a giant acorn barnacle, and I am so serious about this. If people know that these exist, why do we keep searching for space aliens? They really are out here living on our planet already. Turns out I know nothing, and barnacles are arthropods that are actually related to crabs and lobsters since they are in the subphylum Crustacea. This video shows the giant acorn variety, which is the world's largest barnacle. Like, I am well aware that this thing is perfectly harmless, but I can't help but be creeped out by it, you know? I guess that's why we're talking about things that are oddly terrifying. These guys can usually be found on rocks, pier pillings, or on other hard-shelled animals, usually at a depth of up to 300 feet. This thing is like kind of cute, but I still don't want to be near it. In our number 7 spot today, we have Morning Glory. Okay, I know you guys are going to be making jokes about this one in the comments, and I'm nervous to see them. I'll show you the video first, and then explain what is going on here. Oddly terrifying, right? It looks like a hole in the earth just opened up and is ready to swallow us all, but there's actually a pretty alright explanation behind this one. This video is actually of a concrete spillway that is shaped like a giant bathtub drain. The spillway was last active in 2006 before flooding and storms in 2017 and 2019 made it active again, which is of course where this video comes from. The spillway is located in Lake Berryessa, and when the water level gets too high, it spills over the lip and heads down into this glorified bathtub drain. So although it looks absolutely terrifying, it's just a really efficient system doing its job. In our number 6 spot today, we have an MRI scan. This is one I might be alone in, but this video absolutely creeps the heck out of me. The video is of an MRI scan, which is already pretty cool. I mean, it's certainly not something I see every day. Basically, this is just an MRI scan of a person speaking, but who knew that this is what our tongues look like in our mouths? How weirdly disturbing, right? Maybe I'm just losing it, but there is something about it that makes me super uncomfortable. It looks like it's like a slug or something. I don't know, I would just rather look at an MRI of a brain or something like that. This one just isn't for me. In our number 5 spot today, we have Dracula's Defense. Vampire squids are one of those creepy deep sea creatures that like to stay in areas of the ocean that have the lowest concentrations of oxygen. It is surprising that they aren't out and about more often though, because they have this fascinating and absolutely terrifying defense mechanism mechanism that they use when it comes to them feeling threatened, and this video captured it all. Basically, they just flip themselves inside out and reveal all of these spikes that they have on the underside, and to that I say, great play. It's definitely enough to keep me away, that's for sure. Vampire squids are extremely interesting creatures, and the vampire part of their name comes from their fantastic red color, their glowing eyes, and their webbing in between the arms, which appears like a sort of cloak. As for the squid part, well, they actually share qualities with both squids and octopuses, and they don't actually belong to either of these families. Instead, they are in a category of their own entirely. In the past, there were more members of this same family, but the vampire squid is now the last remaining member, which is why they're often referred to as a living fossil. In our number 4 spot today, we have iRobot. Many people will claim that the robot takeover is imminent, and honestly, who am I to say for sure? But I'll tell you what, videos like this certainly make a convincing argument. This is a robot that is said to have been designed to be gender fluid, race neutral, and made for places like science centers, theme parks, and other businesses. This video was posted to TikTok by Yahoo News, and it shows this humanoid robot, quote, waking up, and honestly this thing looks like more of a human than I do. I mean, come on. I definitely don't look that alive when I wake up in the morning. First I have to compete with the Kardashians on Instagram, and now I gotta worry about this thing? I'm just saying, this robot is absolutely fascinating, but it's also extremely unnerving. One day they're hashtag I woke up like thising, and the next they're sentient and taking over the world. It's a slippery slope, my friends. In our number 3 spot today, we have an AI oopsie. While we're on the topic of robots and AI, sometimes our technologies work to make our lives easier until they just accidentally create something terrifying. Luckily, this one is in the most harmless way, and it comes from a photo enhancing technology. This video was posted on Reddit by the user Scott Grizz, and it appears as though he was editing a photo, and he goes back and forth to show us the before and after of the enhancement, but as he zooms in, we get an unexpected, terrifying surprise. Of course, this is just a simple AI fail where it thought the ear was a face, so it did its job of just adding some eyes and some teeth, but what came out of its mistake is the stuff from nightmares. I don't know why, but this ear-face thing reminds me of that snapping book from Harry Potter. I think it's the Book of Monsters, whatever the one that is vicious and sentient is. I really hope that this guy's face ear thing isn't sentient. That would be less oddly terrifying and more just straight up nightmare fuel. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Midnight Howl. This video comes from a college campus, and it captures an absolutely terrifying tradition that takes place at midnight on the Friday before finals. No one likes finals. I mean, no one likes exams in particular, because what a stressful experience, and these college students decided that they needed a way to let it all out. That means that the entire campus starts screaming about the pending exams at midnight, and it creates a chorus of the most disturbing variety. I'm glad the students are getting it out, and I bet it's a tradition a lot of them look forward to participating in, but I'm sure it's the worst night for all of those around the campus as well as the security. I don't know, call me weird, but the sound of a large group of people all screaming together is pretty terrifying, even if I know there's a harmless reason behind it. In our number 1 spot today, we have acrophobia. There are a lot of scary, dangerous, and risky jobs that exist in the world, and they include things like construction and steel workers, farmers and ranchers, pilots, those who work in the fishing industry, or first responders like the police or firemen. These jobs all come with their associated risks, but one job that I had never heard of before seeing this video needs to be added to the list. I'm sure this job is as safe as it possibly can be with equipment and harnesses and proper training, but man, being the person who has to climb a 2,000-foot tower to change a light bulb can't be a low-stress job. This video was taken by a radio tower climber, or a tower technician, who needed to climb all the way up to the top of the tower in order to perform his job. Other than just the sheer height of this thing, imagine dealing with all of the elements up there. I'm just saying, I'm sure it's the most peaceful and the most heart-racing experience aliens of all time at the same time. Like, this gives me the same kind of anxiety I had while watching Free Solo. This is a wild job, and obviously somebody's gotta do it. I'm just glad it's not me. I'll keep being freaked out on Reddit from the comfort of my own home with my feet planted firmly on the ground. I just have one question though. What if he forgot the light bulb? Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot we have At Rest. At a first glance in the beginning of this video, it looks like it's about to not be oddly terrifying, but just regular plain old terrifying. It literally looks like the person taking the video has stumbled upon some sort of gruesome discovery, and considering the fact that I found this video on Reddit, I was really nervous as to what I was about to witness. The brave videographer gets in closer and starts to investigate the frickin' hand poking out of the sand, and it starts to move. Oh my god, is it a zombie? Was someone buried alive? No, of course it's just a snoozin' armadillo. Considering they have an armored body, I'm really wondering why this armadillo is sleeping with its soft, fleshy belly up, but regardless of whatever the reason, he sure is cute, and this video is way better than the alternative. In our number 9 spot today we have a tarsier. Some animals on this planet prefer to spend their days sleeping and the nights out on the town. And no, I'm not talking about teenagers. Today I'm talking about the tarsier. These guys are a type of primate, and they once were more widespread, but today they can be found on the islands of Southeast Asia. Something hilarious about these guys is the fact that they have eyes so big that sometimes just one of their eyes is larger than their brain, and the shape of their heads is unique because it needed to be in such a way that it can balance their huge eyes and heavy head. Anyway, I stumbled upon this video of a tarsier in the night, and while these creatures are pretty dang cute, there is something that is definitely oddly terrifying about this video. When it gets all weird and tense, I don't know, I really don't like it. I'm glad these guys are nocturnal and that they live far, far away from me. I'm sure they're harmless, but there's no way I'd be able to sleep after encountering this golem creature. In our number 8 spot today we have the flood. If you're someone who doesn't like the water, or you have a fear of being submerged, this one will just be straight up terrifying for you. This video shows someone dropping a GoPro down a deep flooded mine shaft. The entire video is 9 minutes long, so of course I can't show you the entire thing, but these little clips give you the right idea. It's like the scariest version of Finding Nemo, and the entire time I feel like I'm just waiting for some never before seen creature to just jump out at us. Mineshafts are pretty terrifying when they're not flooded, but adding the water certainly makes them even more eerie. In our number 7 spot today we have cave exploring. As someone who gets pretty anxious when I'm in confined spaces, I wouldn't say I'm claustrophobic, but I would say that this video looks like an absolute nightmare. This video details a few explorers heading deep into a cave of some sort, but the narrow areas that they have to squeeze through genuinely make me hold my breath. Like, the areas where they're just rappelling from high heights looks like a breeze compared to them barely making it through these small spaces. Maybe I'm just not brave like these people, but I feel like this situation is just asking for something to go wrong. In this specific scenario, it looks like everyone made it through perfectly fine, however, which is the best news, but I can definitely tell you that this will not be something I'm trying anytime soon. In our number 6 spot today we have fishing. Okay, I don't fish, and I don't know a lot about fish, but one thing I do know is that there are some out there that are surprisingly huge for someone like me who doesn't really know a lot about them. That is why this video of a person who is going fishing is oddly terrifying. They cast their lure into the water, and I guess this specific one is meant to replicate a bird. After they get the line into the water, we see a huge dark shadow of what looks like the Loch Ness monster coming up towards it. Turns out it's just a ginormous catfish thinking he's about to get a meal, and man is he vicious. Like, that thing is so big, it seems like it just came out of nowhere, and it is certainly pretty strong and very powerful. I just like to stay here, on the ground. The more I learn about what lives in the water, the more I'm glad that I am a land animal. In our number 5 spot today we have special effects. This video comes from the super talented makeup artist known as Metamorphosia_FX, but at a very first glance this video literally looks like it was taken from some gruesome crime scene or some sort of weird horror movie, but it turns out it's just some incredible talent. The video shows them starting off with a regular face that appears bloody and cut, and while the first look is certainly creepy enough, it's what lurks beneath that is truly shocking. This clearly and thankfully isn't real, but it still definitely gives you that super creepy feeling, which I think was the point of it all. If this was Halloween season, who wouldn't even need a costume if your makeup was on this level? In our number 4 spot today we have electric shock. We are in a realm of things I don't quite understand, and that is likely why this video freaks me out so much. I am certainly no electrician, and honestly electricity freaks me out because I know next to nothing about it, but I do know that when not careful it can obviously be really dangerous and deadly. This is exactly why this video of a stick that found itself on some power lines actually freaks me out. Thanks to the smart people of Reddit, a user called Jazz-like Sector 3790 said, quote, "If I had to guess, I'd say water/moisture is conducting electricity and causing a short between the two power lines, causing it to boil in the branch and water vapor to escape in tiny steam vents, which is making the hissing sounds. Then a tiny bit of conductivity left in the wood itself superheated the wood and caused it to combust after being completely dried out." That sounds like a perfectly reasonable explanation, and really one that doesn't concern me at all, as I am not a stick that has found myself on two power lines, but I just can't help but feel freaked out by this video. In our number 3 spot today we have the Evolved. Okay, this video is of a fish, and I don't know how to tell you guys this, but this fish is out of water and it's literally standing and breathing. I don't know all the technicalities, and maybe this is a super normal thing for fish to do, but last I checked they usually do way better in the water and they don't stand. There's actually pretty likely a sad story behind this, and it's probably most likely that someone pulled the fish out of water and its fins ended up getting frozen like that. The good news, however, is that it looks like a carp, and as long as the gills are wet, it'll be getting the air it needs. I just hope that whoever was taking this video quickly stopped recording and got this guy back into the water. This fish definitely looked like it was the first generation of a new evolved fish though. The next Nemo movie is going to take place on land. In our number 2 spot today we have the orangutan. If you ask me, I think orangutans are pretty dang cute. I love their mannerisms, but even more they have the cutest little faces and eyes. I mean, have you seen a baby orangutan before? It's literally the sweetest thing. Other than being cute, orangutans are extremely similar to humans in a lot of ways, and they are very, very clever. They can also be very, very dangerous, just like all great apes. That is exactly why this video of an orangutan, while so cute, is oddly terrifying. This poor guy is clearly standing in some kind of enclosure, which is exactly not where any animal should be, but this little guy also looks like he's plotting his revenge against the people who put him there. The Reddit post that shared this video titled it, quote, "If the glass breaks, humanity is doomed," and that really is the feeling you get from this guy. While it looks like he's plotting some big scheme, I wonder what he's actually thinking about. In our number 1 spot today we have the playground. This video comes from a playground in Russia, and man, nothing will make you feel less like a child than this place. I couldn't imagine taking any child to this place unless I wanted them to permanently have nightmares for the rest of forever. As the person taking the video walks up to the playground, there's already a bit of an eerie feeling. Maybe it's because we know something's coming, maybe it's because it's a bit of a gloomy day. Either way, if this is where we're starting, things are not good. There's one statue sort of thing in the playground that the person taking the video is walking up to from behind, and it looks as though it's gonna be some sort of a princess, perhaps like a Belle from Beauty and the Beast type who's wearing a blue dress. As the person taking the video gets closer to her and wraps around to the front, it's when we see her face that things get pretty creepy. It's probably some sort of rust, or maybe just paint coming off, or maybe vandalism, but whatever it is horrifying and would scar any visitor of this playground for life. I know it's harmless, but that's exactly what makes it oddly terrifying. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot we have glowing eyes. This video starts off showing people enjoying themselves and dancing the night away in a club in Russia when apparently there was some sort of a power outage, which of course left the place cloaked in darkness. I mean, except for the thing that makes this video oddly terrifying. There's about 3 people whose eyes stay illuminated as everything else turns dark. I'm just saying, glowing eyes in the dark? Probably vampires. Or they're just the only 3 who were facing the camera when the lights fell, but most likely it's vampires. In our number 9 spot today we have eels. This video is titled Feeding Time at an Eel Farm, which I mean is exactly what this video is, but man, I was not expecting it to look like this. As soon as they drop the food, a bunch of freaky little water snakes immediately start jumping at it. But like when I say a bunch, it's so many more than I ever expected. There's something about this video that really feeds into the whole fear of the ocean thing. While this video is definitely oddly terrifying, it's also important to note the danger of these eel farms, especially for the kinds of eels that are endemic to an area, those that are endangered, or both. Eels are long-living creatures who only breed once, and they don't do it in captivity. When most of a generation of eels are caught, it proves to be a large problem in terms of population. In our number 8 spot today we have jelly. This video shows someone cooking up some cognac jelly, which if you don't know, cognac is an herb that has been long used in traditional Chinese medicine. It is known for its starchy properties and for its soluble dietary fiber, and people use it as a thickener in soup and stews, as a prebiotic supplement, or as a gelatin substitute, which is how the jelly form is made, basically using water and cognac powder. Anyway, so someone is cooking these jellies up and they had to take a video because the sound is kind of freaky. Although we can clearly see what is happening, likely because of steam being released, it sounds like the jellies are screaming or being cooked alive. I know it's irrational, but that is exactly why this video is called Oddly Terrifying. It doesn't have to make sense. In our number 7 spot today, we have the new house. Nature is always adapting in the most surprising ways, and this video is definitely a direct testament to that. There are some creatures that exist, like hermit crabs, who seek out a nice little shell to live in that provides them the nice cozy protection that they need. Usually these shells are ones you'd expect to find on the beach, but with good old human pollution, of course, if we're gonna find trash on the beach, so are the creatures who live there, and sometimes they go on to use it as their new home. This little crab seems to have found himself an old doll's head to make his little home in. Knowing the crab is there, this video is still oddly terrifying, but imagine if we could only see the doll's head just moving down the beach on its own. In our number 6 spot today, we have a mantis cleaning. This one might only be oddly terrifying to me, but you guys know how much I hate bugs, and if you do too, you're gonna want to skip this number. Basically, someone saw a praying mantis chilling in their driveway, and as they got closer, they realized it was cleaning itself, and they pulled out their phone and started taking a video, which I have to say is surprisingly well shot for just pulling out your phone to record, but hey, technology is pretty cool, and that is absolutely not what we are here to talk about today. As they get closer and zoom in on the creature, it gets so clear exactly what it's doing, and it absolutely creeps me the heck out. I know there's no imminent threat, but for some reason watching this video makes it feel like there is. I think the video is cool, I just also think it kind of freaks and grosses me out. It's like got hands on its face. I don't know, I just think that's weird. Hopefully there's no praying mantis fans in the audience. In our number 5 spot today, we have masks. Okay, this is one I want you to watch first before I even say anything. First, this looks like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, but something is off. Yeah, it takes a second to realize, but that's not them. Those are two insanely realistic looking masks. It is crazy how those actually are so realistic that for a full couple seconds, it's hard to compute what is going on here. The first couple times I watched it, I was like that meme of the lady with all the math around her. It's the fact that they can't change their facial expressions even in the slightest way that gives them away though. These masks can be as realistic and lifelike as they want, but if you can't move the face, people will know. It's those little things our brains just pick up on without us even noticing, and it's exactly what makes this video so oddly terrifying. In our number 4 spot today, we have UFOs. This video comes from a little earlier in December and was captured by a pilot around 39,000 feet in the air. Something strange has definitely got to be happening for a pilot to take their phone out and start recording mid-flight, but this truly was a sight that, I mean, I have never seen before, and clearly they hadn't either. Basically, the video shows these like beams of light that are in rows, and of course my first thought is aliens. There is something that is very aesthetically pleasing about this video, but it's also oddly terrifying because any unknown thing flying through the sky is kind of anxiety inducing. Turns out there might be a super reasonable explanation for this one that has to do with flares. I'm no expert, that's just what the comments are saying. In our number 3 spot today, we have skills. Okay, this video is titled World's Biggest Mouth, which is hilarious but also intriguing. Of course I had to click on it and watch, and what ensued was chaotic energy that had me feeling uncomfortable. The video starts with this guy holding the bottom end of a regular sized Mountain Dew bottle into his wide open mouth, and the bottle looks like it's tiny in comparison. Then he gets a large 2-liter bottle and he's able to put his entire mouth around it. That's it. That's the video. Super impressive, definitely oddly terrifying. I can just feel my own jaw when I look at this video. Is that like the world record, and how do you even find out you have the ability to do this? Honestly, 10 out of 10 though. I have to say, as uncomfortable as the video makes me, it is really impressive. In our number 2 spot today, we have The Rock. This video is terrifying because it feeds into the lie that every kids movie told us. The video shows a guy on a beautiful beach and he invites us all to come and look at a rock with him, but he needs to make sure it's safe first. The loving, protective friend we all need. Anyway, he throws a much smaller rock towards the large rock he wants us to look at, and this is when we see the danger. Quicksand. The rock he threw is quickly swallowed by the quicksand, and this is when that kids movie thing kicks in. In reality, I have the knowledge that most of the time quicksand isn't going to just swallow me whole. There are risks associated with it, but it's not the almost inescapable trap that the movies have made it seem to be. There is the possibility of air pockets and that sort of thing, which can create a big problem, which is exactly why our friend's rock test was super important, but for the most part things are fairly safe, and also I am clearly not anywhere close to quicksand. The coast is clear for me. In our number 1 spot today we have chains. This video looks like it was taken right from someone's nightmare or something, as this literally captures the creepiest looking place I've ever seen. Apparently this is some sort of rotary kiln that is used for processing concrete ingredients or something along those lines, and apparently this thing usually runs for over 50 weeks at a time, so this must be one of the few times it is off, probably for some sort of inspection. I am just still hung up on the fact that this isn't a Little Nightmares level and it's actually a real place. Also, all of the industrial noise that's going on in the background certainly does not help to make this any less eerie. Does anyone watching this video work on one of those things? I want to know if it looks as terrifying in real life as it does in this video.